It all starts with thousands of tiny pellets, primarily comprised of PET plastic. PET, or polyethylene terephthalate, is strong, safe, and makes up about 96% of plastic bottles and containers in the US. Most plastic products are created through a process known as injection molding, which begins with a technician loading the pellets into a giant funnel known as a hopper. However, these days, it's far more common for the pellets to be vacuumed up through tubes and directly into the hopper, where they are measured and portioned for the injection process. The plastic pellets travel down the hopper and into the machine, where they are melted down and injected into molds in the shape of drinkware. For most drinkware, like plastic cups, the process is pretty much complete. A robotic arm removes the cups from the machine and stacks them for the technician to inspect. Lids and squeeze tops are also done in one. As the mold opens, the finished lids are ejected down a chute, ready for assembly. When bottles are injection molded, the process has multiple steps. Initially, the plastic is molded into a small, hollow cone. The cones are compact and thus easier to store. When an order is placed, the cones are inserted onto a conveyor and heated to make them soft and pliable again. Then they are squeezed into a larger mold while air is forced into the center, causing the plastic to expand to the full shape and size of the bottle. It's like blowing up a balloon. When they exit the mold, you have a fully formed and beautiful plastic bottle ready to hold your favorite beverage. Some machines are so enormous that the entire process is completed internally. The plastic is melted, the cones are formed, and then immediately molded into finished bottles without ever being touched by a technician. But we're not done yet, because injection molding is not the only way to make a bottle. This is extrusion molding, a process in which heated plastic is squirted out into long, hollow tubes like large plastic noodles. 3 at a time, the molds clamp around the plastic noodles. Air is forced into the molds, and the plastic tubes expand into the completed shape of the bottle. The bottles are formed, but there is extra plastic to be trimmed. So they are run through a cutter with a heated blade that shapes them up like a hot knife through butter. Now it's on to heat treatment. Without it, the ink used in screen print and pad print will not properly adhere to the drinkware. Our extrusion molded bottles are sent spiraling through a gauntlet of fire and out the other side, ready for logos. The final step is packaging.
Actually happens to all the plastic bottles. We're going to focus on polyethylene terephthalate, or PET, the type of plastic with a 1 printed on the bottom. The ethylene terephthalate refers to this. String a bunch of these together and you get polyethylene terephthalate, a durable, flexible plastic that can be heated up and molded into lots of convenient shapes. After you recycle a plastic bottle, it gets hauled off and sent to a recycling plant. They take off the labels and clean it and separate all of the PET bottles, not just from the glass and metal and paper, but also from the other kinds of plastic. That's because different types of polymers do not always play well together. For example, polyvinyl chloride, which most of the pipes in your home are probably made of, can totally ruin a batch of PET. You have to heat up a batch of PET so much just to soften and mold it that the PVC will start to chemically break down and produce hydrochloric acid, which can actually degrade the PET. So sorting is super important, and so is cleaning to remove as much impurity as possible. In this case, that includes both things like that last backwashy sip of soda and other kinds of plastic. That's one major factor in why it's both hard and expensive to recycle bottles into more bottles. But when the plastic isn't good enough for recycling into more bottles, it's still sometimes good enough to spin into fiber for clothing or carpets or whatever else you use fiber for. Which, incidentally, is now called polyester, even though chemically, it hasn't changed. That's right, most polyester and PET plastic are chemically the same thing. The plastic is just ground and shredded and melted until it can be spun into thread and then woven into fabric. This type of recycling is sometimes called downgrading, because once the plastic becomes fabric, it can no longer be recycled again. There is also a form of recycling that changes the chemistry of PET, and is in fact called chemical recycling. It requires putting enough energy into the plastic to break the chemical bonds holding the polymer together, converting PET back into its individual parts. These molecules can be used to remake PET, or even made into different types of plastic, but chemical recycling is really expensive, so we don't do it very much. So that's why bottles become clothes and not new bottles, because making bottles requires super clean plastic, and that's tough to get. But even though going from a plastic bottle to a handbag is technically a downgrade, at least it's much cuter now, right? right?